Hello and welcome to your weekly technical update, your guide to the charts that matter this week. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, energy stocks have been among the best performers since the Middle East conflict began, reflecting the dramatic move in oil and gas prices. Let's focus on the domestic oil and gas producer Santos, which has operations across Australia, Papua New Guinea and the United States. Thomas Atkinson provides the technical analysis.
Santos has been trading in a range for a very long time, and we often think in technical analysis terms of charts being like springs. So that is, if we trade in a very tight range for a long time, or a price area, when eventually it does break out, it can be quite aggressive. This one's actually back to a resistance area of around $8. So this level, as you can see here, I've put some red arrows to everything, so it's very plain to see that we've hit this level many times before, and every time, I guess previously, it's been a point where people have come in and I guess sold their positions. But with everything that's been going on in the world, and obviously gas as well being so much in shortage, if that continues to be a problem for the rest of the year, then Santos might be looking at a breakout here. And $8 is a very important level. So between 8 and 8.50, I think technical analysts will be looking at weekly closes and seeing how the smaller timeframes look as well. So this looks like it's got some momentum through it, and it's touched a lot of times, so maybe it's time for it to break out. We'll find out.
Well, amid the turmoil caused by the war, the biotech sector has performed well. Here's Jonathan Tagadina from MC Markets, who looks at the technicals for diagnostics firm TLX Pharmaceuticals.
They actually came out with some news early this week, and that's what caused the most recent jump to $13, and it continues to sort of defy the laws of gravity here. Now, one thing that I will note is that the short interest has actually dug in. When I started looking into this, the short interest was roughly about the 10 to 11%. It's now up to 15%, and now it's the second most shorted stock on the ASX. So I think that, and we've seen this happen before, that when shorts get squeezed, we do see some explosive moves. The one that that comes to mind most is in Paladin. There was a massive short in Paladin. Once the shorters realized that the company fundamentals had significantly changed, they had to cover it. We saw a massive run, and I think that's what's in store for TLX Pharmaceuticals. And obviously, it's one of the best perform. That aside, the short interest aside, it's a company that produces money. They're in the late stages of that sort of FDA approval, so I think it's back on track. And when it was the darling of the pharmaceutical run, it was trading roughly around $20 and here at 13, at a stage where we're actually closer to that sort of last approval, I think it's a great risk to reward ratio here as well.
Well, Clarity Pharmaceuticals has just signed a supply agreement in the US with a cancer research firm for its cancer imaging product. Jonathan Tagadina acknowledges the positive market news and its share price trajectory.
They're looking well past the current sort of FDA trials. They're actually starting to shore up their supply chains, and so what that tells me is that they're onto the next stage of actual drug development and sort of company fundamentals. They actually came out with some news earlier this week, and that was sold into. So there is still some stale holders there in Clarity, but I think it's the same thing with the biotechs that just in general. It's been out of favor because obviously things like CSL, they've just been beaten down so much. This whole space doesn't have that excitement at the moment. And I've talked to, been on the call with Nathan, and he talks about that, here in Australia, basically it's either biotechs or the small cap mining stocks. And because small cap mining has taken a hit, we're going to see a bit more sort of interest in the biotech space. And I think when Clarity starts to get a move on, I think that'll start to rocket as well.
All right.
Now, it's another situation where it's a great risk to reward ratio here. I think the lows are in, and great upside potential for Clarity.
And that's it for this week's edition of the Charts to Watch. Join us for more technical talk next week. Happy trading.